Oops. Okay, everybody, sorry about that. Today I'm going to be talking about how to create a task analysis. This is for my simulated training presentation. My name is Haley Catron. Let's get started. So first I'm going to start by letting you guys know a little bit about me, who I am. I'm 24 years old. I'm currently a student at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. I'm currently getting my master's there. I've been in RBT for a year on October 22nd. I've been married for close to 3 years, and I have a daughter that just turned 2. She is so much fun. As you can see in this top picture, she this I just took this picture the other day at the zoo. She loves animals, loves stuffed animals, and loves Winnie the Pooh. This bottom picture is of her when she's little, and my husband, Charlie, he's in the army. A little bit of fun facts about me. I love hockey. The Predators are my home team since I'm from Nashville. I also love scary movies such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. So let's dive in. What is a task analysis? A task analysis is the process of breaking a complex skill or series of behaviors into smaller teachable units, which is a quote from Cooper et al. 2019. Or, to put it more simply, creating smaller, easier steps from a harder to accomplish skill. So, to start, before I give you guys more details, let's get a baseline to see where you guys are at now. Using the pen and paper in front of you, write a task analysis for how to put on a sock. Don't worry, this won't be shown to anybody else or even me. It's just for your own personal use. We're going to be coming back to this example later on in my presentation. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to do that. Okay. Is everybody done? Awesome. So now we're going to look at a task analysis, a good task analysis compared to a bad task analysis for how to fill up a glass of water, specifically in my house. So a good task analysis for this skill would be to 1, open the cupboard, 2, get a cup, 3, close the cupboard, 4, open the freezer, 5, fill cup halfway with ice from the ice tray, 6, close the freezer, 7, turn on cold water, 8, turn on the water filter, number 9, fill cup until it's about a half an inch away of space at the top so it's not too full, and then 10, turn off the water. So as you can see, this is 10 steps for something as simple as getting a glass of water. There's a lot of details added, but it definitely tells you how I get a glass of water at my house. Compare this to the bad example on the right, which only has 3 steps. 1, get a cup. 2, fill the cup with ice. And 3, fill the cup with water. This could be really problematic because somebody just walking into my house wouldn't know where my cups are. Are they in a different room? Are they in the pantry? No, they're in my cupboard. 2, filling up the cup with ice. Should I fill my glass with just a couple cubes? Do I fill my glass all the way to the top? I fill it halfway so so you still have enough water in your cup. And then 3, filling your cup with water. This can be really deceitful because how far do you fill up your cup with water? Do I fill it all the way to the brim? That could be problematic because then it could spill everywhere. The more details you give is always the better, which I will be saying a lot during this presentation. So what will you need to do a task analysis? First, you're going to need paper and a pen and pencil, or some way to write down the steps as you do them. And you're also going to need whatever materials you're going to be using for the activity. So if you're cooking noodles, you're going to need water, noodles, a pot, strainer, a stove, and a spoon to stir the noodles. Or from my example earlier, if you're filling a glass of water, you're going to need ice, an ice cube tray, water, a cup, a sink, and a water filter attachment, which is for my personal environment, which we'll talk about more later. So the main key to success of writing the best possible task analysis is to do the activity yourself and write down each thing you do as you do it. And then after you've done that, do the steps exactly as you wrote them. Did you accomplish your goal that you set out to do? Did you miss anything? Or do you think you have enough details for somebody else to come in and follow your task analysis the way you wrote it down? How long does all of this take? It depends. The more complicated the task, the longer it'll take to write the task analysis. A task analysis for something like writing for doing the laundry will take longer than for a task analysis to sit down properly or to write the letter A or to fill up a glass of water like I talked about earlier. The longer the task takes to complete and the more steps you have, the longer it'll take to write the task analysis. But remember, just because a task analysis has a lot of steps or takes a long time to write, doesn't necessarily mean it's not important to teach. Sometimes complex and long skills are essential for independence. If you have a client that's in high school that you're trying to prepare to be out on their own, teaching them how to cook, how to clean, how to do their own laundry are all tasks that have a lot of steps, but are all definitely important to be able to be independent in their own house at some point, if that's the goal. It's important to think about the presentation of your task analysis. Always make sure you're thinking about the abilities of your client when you're presenting the task analysis to them. An all picture task analysis is not appropriate for an adult who can read because that's not their least restrictive presentation. Or a written task analysis or a checklist is not best for a young child or a client that can't read yet. Another thing to keep in mind is lamination. Lamination is always your friend because it keeps your stuff better longer, but it's definitely important if you're going to be using liquids such as cleaning materials or if the task analysis is to brush your teeth or how to wash your hands or a process such as that. Here are 3 different examples that I found of different task analyses. On the top left corner, you can see an all written task analysis, which is great for clients that like checklists, as well as clients that can read because it's their least restrictive. In the bottom left-hand corner is an all picture presentation. One thing to keep in mind with an all picture presentation is sometimes this can be harder to fade from because they don't have the words there to help them out too. So I recommend for clients that can't read doing a combination, as you can see on the right-hand side, of pictures and words, so they're still being exposed to the words in the written out task, but they still have the pictures there to help them, which can slowly be faded out. Fade prompting is something we'll be Prompt fading is something that we'll be working on in a later presentation. Remember, being thorough really pays off. The more details you have, the more easy it is for your client to acquire the skill that's being taught. This also makes the skill that's taught the same no matter who's working on it. So if the parent is working on it, they can do the same exact steps in the same exact order that you're doing them with, or other staff members are doing it all the same way. So it's consistent throughout the client's life, making it easier for the client to learn how to do that task. Here's an example of me writing down how to put on a sock. Oop, is it not wanting to play? There it goes. So I'm opening up the drawer, I'm getting my paper, and I'm writing down that I opened up the drawer. Now I'm getting out my socks, and I'm writing that down. Now I'm putting socks on the bed, I'm writing it down. So really making sure that after everything I do, every small step, I'm writing down what I did to make my task analysis as thorough as possible. I sat down on the bed and I'm writing it down. I crossed my legs. I'm writing it down. It's really important that that you really take your time to make sure that you include everything that you do in your task analysis. How do I open up the sock? I do it myself and I write it down. How do I start the process of putting it at my foot? I do it and I write it down. Next, I'm going to put the sock on my foot. Really being thoughtful and exactly how I did that step. I put my foot down and I write it down. And that's all the steps of how to put on a sock. So now it's your turn. I want you guys to take a few seconds to write down a task analysis for how to put on a sock now that we've talked about how to write a detailed task analysis a little bit more. I'll give you guys a little bit of time to do that. Okay, great job, everybody. Is everybody done? Awesome. So here's my task analysis. Number 1, open drawer. Number 2, select a pair of socks. Number 3, put pair of socks on the bed. Number 4, close drawer. Number 5, sit on bed. Number 6, cross legs to gain access to my foot. Number 7, unfold the socks. Number 8, put thumbs in the opening of the sock with my toes against the seam. Number 9, spread the sock hole. Number 10, put the open sock hole to the tip of my toe. Number 11, slowly pull elastic opening onto foot until the toes are against the seam and the elastic is around the ankle. And then number 12, put your foot back down. Some helpful tips to keep in mind when you're writing your own task analyses. Remember to make sure you're as detailed as possible. I know I've said it a lot, but I promise it really pays off. And also, not every task analysis will be the same. It will change based on the environment of your client. So going back to my water example, does your client's refrigerator have an ice maker in it? Does your client have a sink filter? Because not everybody has one of those. It's definitely a necessity in my house, though. Um, and also alter your task analysis to your client's abilities and needs. Does your client require modifications to the process compared to how you would do it? Clients with physical disabilities may need different steps or equipment to complete a task, such as putting on a sock. Okay, so let's compare. How does your first task analysis that you wrote on how to put on a sock compare to the one that you just did? Is there room for details in either? What's some things that you noticed? And I'd like to end with this thought. Task analyses are really similar to recipes that we use on the day-to-day basis. Recipes are task analyses that we use in our day-to-day lives. So here's the same recipe just written out two different ways. Which one would you prefer to use? The one on the left that tells you the exact amount of each ingredient and gives exactly what you need to be doing with each step of the process and exactly how long to cook, how many, and at what heat, or like the one you'd see on the right-hand side, where it just gives you the ingredients you need, but doesn't give you any amounts of these ingredients and gives you very generic directions such as mix ingredients. Which ingredients am I mixing? Put in a cupcake cup. What am I putting in a cupcake cup? Add cream cheese. To what? And bake until done. How high? For how long? And then to cool it. Which one would you prefer to use, and which will help you accomplish your goal of creating a delicious, yummy cheesecake tart? Thank you for everybody for your time. I hope this was helpful to all of you, and I hope to see you guys all at my next presentation. Thank you.